Nathan is what inspired me. I knew the Fletcher family mythology just from, growing up as a person involved in action sports and surfing in my youth in South Africa. I was introduced to Herbie Fletcher by Julian Schnabel, the famous painter and filmmaker, who's one of Herbie's best friends. Many years later, I made this film, Sea of Darkness, and we were doing this weird screening organized by Julian, and Christian Fletcher's friend Terry the Magician was there. He was like lying on a bed of broken glass with only a pair of shorts on. So Julian then walks on Terry the Magician's stomach. After which Terry the Magician takes a huge, massive Rufus nail and hammers it up his nostril. And there was Nathan in the middle of all this. And Nathan had just recently come back from Chopu with Bruce, who was also there. And Nathan was spaced. I remember saying to him, hey man, nobody had ever seen a wave or a wipeout like that in the history of surfing. I remember getting this emotional feeling of meeting Nathan for the first time. And it was an unsettling feeling. And that's what inspired me to make a film about Nathan.
Well, I don't really surf all the big waves that I did before because I was at a different point in my life. And before I used to be really excited and I couldn't sleep because I was so excited. And so after all these things, I realized that then I couldn't sleep because I was super nervous. And so once I became real nervous when the sun would rise or whatever the night before, I realized that it was a different kind of a nerve. I just know if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And so I've put myself to a lot of things. It's all good.
Do you still surf like the outer reefs when they go off?
I'm not like prepping 2 days before it and like watching everything. It's more like, you just kind of go wake up, see what the ocean's doing and surf if you want.
The dangerous side of making action sports films are the people who are doing the action. Me and Dave Wassel, the famous lifeguard from Pipeline, was driving the jet ski and I was sitting on the back of it with the camera and we were right under the helicopter. And suddenly Wassel goes, whoa, get ready to bail. And it's like, whoosh, this fucking huge set is about to come down on us. And he just goes in the opposite direction, throws me flying off the ski. And I remember coming up out the water holding the camera like this. It was a very cool moment.
I wasn't as satisfied as what I thought because I would figure you'd want to jump 20 feet out. But when you do all the statistics of the actual event and how the day is going to roll out with the production, with insurance, with the FAA, with the helicopter, with all these things, it's just different. And so to actually be in the helicopter and leave it and land in the water and right away in 1 day or 6 tries and in the amount of time that it took to go around and all that, I was super happy for Michael to put it all together for me to be able to do it. It's I'm very thankful that I had that opportunity.
What inspired me was Nathan and his family story and people like Sion and Mark Fu, these incredibly talented athletes out there. We live off of their incredible achievements, but we forget who the people were that paved the way for us to get to where we are now. If there weren't guys like Jay Adams back in the day, or your dad, it wouldn't be here, or Christian, They're all the little milestones down the highway.
Dominoes. You got to stand them up.
Yeah, you got to get them back up.
They stand up.
And then sometimes they fall because that's what happens because they're always so ahead of the curve. And it kind of gets back to what Nathan says. You can't be ahead of the curve forever. You've got to be ahead of the curve at the right place in history and time. That is exactly where you need to be for what you're doing, and you make your achievement.
Yeah, and you make your achievement, and then you enjoy what you've done and the person you can be, and that you let that make you such a better person that's the only way you could have ever had that sort of self, gratitude to even ever get to be able to be happy.
Yeah, just to grow, So it's like that. So what I did with the film was I saw how people grew on the person before them. Like how Christian Assoy grew on Jay, and then you grew on your brother, and how all of these little steps work all the way through to what the most beautiful part of the film is when you're paddling that surfboard with your son, and you talk about the future. I'm content with my life the way it is. No wave is ever going to be like that wave at Joe Boo. It's just not going to happen again. Because what are the odds of surviving it twice? 0.
Never meant to happen in the beginning, so
Exactly.
it happened somehow, and so we're just going to leave it at that.
It was a mutant experience, and we've made it all like family friendly.
All right. Well, thank
There
you.
you go.